Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Husbands Love Your Wives podcast. We are Janet. I am Janet, and I am the host of the podcast Husbands Love Your Wives. And we are so elated that you all have joined us today. And we are so grateful. And so we just want to go ahead, and I wanted to come on today because we're talking, we have a good discussion today. We're going to talk about narcissists, narcissistic behavior. We're going to talk a little bit about toxic people. And so that's what we're talking about today. And so I'm going to ask you to call your neighbor, your friend, and join us with Husband Love Your Wives today. This is Husband Love Your Wives. And if you've been on this channel before, you know that we talk about what it means for a husband to love his wife. We got the title from our scripture from the Bible that says, "Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church." And so we just want to talk a little bit about it because I want to talk about it because I know about it. And so I know that's a lot of people that's talking about narcissists or narcissistic behavior, narcissistic behavior. And so I decided to come on because I do know something about this. And I just want to talk to you all because sometimes you can go and you have family members that are narcissists and toxic behavior. And it's good to know how to deal with that. And my personal opinion is that when you are in a marriage with someone that has that behavior, that can be a terrible thing to go through. That can be just terrible. To go through someone that has the narcissistic behavior. We're talking about toxic people today, toxic family members. That's what we're talking about today, toxic family members, and talking about narcissistic behavior. That's what we're talking about today, and how, hi. I hope everyone is doing wonderful today. And so, and if you know anybody that in your family or not in your family that has, that seems like they're toxic, I would like to share this with the information that I know, because it's good to know the red flags. You all, I want to say that. It's good to know the red flags of narcissism. It's good to know because you can go years and not really know, okay, if you've never had that before. And we're talking about that because I'm talking about something that I know about and how, it can be terrible. And you need to know how to deal with people in your family that deals and have that, I would say, toxic behavior. You need to know how to deal with it, okay? And you need to know the red flags of it. Like I can tell you this right here. Someone that has narcissistic behavior, they usually don't take care of their children. They usually, I'm telling you what I have experienced. I have experienced people having challenges with their behavior, manipulative and emotional, abusive behavior. And it's not good I would say not good to have to go through that because it can bring on a lot of stress. And I know a lot of people talk about this, but I know about it. I know about, setting boundaries. I put up a post not too long ago telling everyone that it's good, even when you're married, to have boundaries. Hi, everyone. Hi. It's good to have boundaries. All right? It's good to have boundaries in a marriage. It's good to have boundaries in a relationship. And when you know that you're dealing with a narcissist, when you know that you've recognized it, it's good to know how to deal with that. It's good. And so I wanted to give the signs. I looked it up and I want to give some signs of toxic family members. I wanted to give you some of the signs of toxic family members. Number one is manipulation. Manipulation. And I'm going to tell you the reason why I want to give things like this, because I was not aware of when someone would be considered toxic. I was unaware of that. Okay, and so now that I'm aware, I've been through a lot of it, I can share it with someone else to tell people, listen, don't go down this road, because it can be a long road thinking that people are going to change and they're really not planning on changing. Hi, they're really not planning on changing. And so I just want to tell people, hey, listen, I can tell you something because I've already been through it. Okay? And so the number one is manipulation. It's a tactic. It's a shaming, playing the victim to control your actions and your decisions. Okay, that's one of the main things that they use. Hi there, Major Plug. I'm glad to see you. Isis Danique, I'm glad to see you. Ned 04, so glad to see you here. So good to see all of the other people. Millennia Dynamic name? No, Melinda is my name. Okay, glad to see you all here. And we're talking about narcissistic behavior. We're talking about toxic family members. And one of the main signs of toxic family members is manipulation. They want to manipulate you. They want to blame you. And they want to shame you, and they want to make you feel guilty, like you are the one. You're the one, and they do it all to control you. It's all for control. And you watch, if you say you have a friend or a spouse or whatever that wants to control you, that's a bad sign. That's a red flag. Okay? That's what I want to talk about, because you can be married to a toxic person. And so the next one that I had, you can be married to a toxic person. Of course you can. And that's hell. That's horrible. Okay? Someone that always want to manipulate. Somebody's always want to put the blame on you instead of blaming them, or taking, this is what they do, is that they blame you for everything, and they don't want to be accountable of what they do. They don't want to be accountable. Number two, constant negativity. Always have something negative to say. Always. When I say negative, I mean a person that name calling, trying to put you down all the time. I used to work at a school as an educator, and I would, at the school they would say no put downs. A person that's toxic, they don't know that type of language. They always have something negative to say. I mean, it's perpetual criticism. Perpetual criticism. They can't find anything good to say about anything. That's a toxic person. When they always focusing on negativity. That's a toxic person. And we're talking about toxic family members. And I'm telling you, these are some of the red flags in a relationship, even in a marriage. And a lot of times people don't want to hear it, but it's the way it is. Okay? Number one was manipulation. Number two was constant. When you're constant in being negative. This is and we're talking about toxic family members. Okay? All right? And that's really, really not good in a marriage. When you have someone that's being manipulative, somebody that's being controlling, somebody have criticism, constant criticism over and over again. The next one is emotional abuse. Emotional abuse. When you are belittling someone and making insults, that's definitely a no-no. And see, we talk about boundaries, right? We talk about boundaries. And that's where I would say, you draw the line there. We have no insults in our relationship. We're not belittling one another in our relationship. But this is a sign of a toxic family member, a toxic person. This is a sign of a toxic person. And so this is the reason why I say that having boundaries is important in any relationship as well as marriage. It's important to have draw the line here. We just don't do that. Okay? That's emotional abuse. It's number three. And even they can try to undermine you and make you feel unworthy. And to make you feel unworthy. This is what we're talking about today. We're talking about toxic relationships, toxic family members, people that have a narcissist behavior. The next one is gaslighting. The next one, I'm giving you all the red flags, some of the red flags in this. That's what I'm giving you all. And it's very important because if you don't, you think it's you. But it's really not you. If you don't know the red flags, you might think that it's you that's the problem when the other person, they have the problem. Okay? Because if you really care about someone, you're not going to insult them. If you really care about someone, then you're not going to try to belittle them, try to manipulate them, if you really care about them, you're not going to do it. I repeat, if you care about someone, love them, you will not use these tactics to try to make someone feel insulted or make someone feel any kind of way. And that's about having respect. How about this? Number 5 is boundary violations. Now, once you let them know that we're not having this, we're not having this. And then you don't have to be aggressive with it. You can tell them nicely, we're not having this. They frequently disregard your personal space, time, and limits. And they act like it is unimportant. The things that you tell them that you're not going to put up with. The things that you say, okay, I'm just not putting up with that. Not at all. Not one time am I going to put up with, your behavior as such, disrespectful. But you have to let people know that I'm not putting up with that. Okay? And if they continue, you can even let them know, when you let them know the boundary, you can even let them know the consequences that they will face. And sometimes, some people don't understand anything but action. Because sometimes to some people, action is definitely louder than your words. And so sometimes you have to put action behind what you say. And let them know that you mean business. Okay, excessive drama. That's number 6. Excessive drama. All right? They create unnecessary conflict and chaos. Some people only feel peaceful when it's chaotic. Always starting trouble. Always doing something to cause some type of conflict. This is what we're talking about. Toxic family members. Toxic, and they blow up at anything. They get upset about anything. They're almost like a walking time bomb. You can't say anything unless some type of argument or something comes up that they bring up that they think is not right. All right. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about toxic people. We're talking about having boundaries with those toxic people, because that's one main thing that you have to do to keep your peace. I hope you all are hearing me out there. That's one of the main things you can do to keep your peace. Number 7 is lack of empathy. Lack of empathy. They show little to no concern for your feelings. They care little or no concern for your well-being. They feel little or no concern for your needs because everything is about them. Oh, I just know that you all have heard a lot on this, but this is how you deal with them, by doing what? And that's what I want to talk about. You deal with them by setting boundaries. And you seek support. And so this is what I wanted to talk about today. Toxic people. These are the red flags. There are other red flags, but these are the red flags of knowing when someone is toxic, knowing when someone is operating in narcissistic behavior. Okay? And so what you have to do is to take care of yourself, love yourself, and set boundaries. And let them know, listen, and let them know I'm not putting up with that. And it's good to even walk away. When you find someone that is very disrespectful, they don't want to respect your boundaries, they don't want to respect you in any type of shape, fashion, form, then you have to walk away and let it go and let them go. Because they can be, I'm just going to say it, they can be clearly not good for you. Okay? In this life, some rain must fall, but you don't have to sit in the rain. You can get you an umbrella and you can walk and go to shelter. Because some people make you feel like you're going through a storm all the time. And it's really not you. So I'm telling you all that these are some of the tips or the red flags that you can see when someone is a toxic, narcissistic person with behavior of manipulation. We talked about it, manipulation and controlling, lack of empathy, excessive drama, always got something going on, always starting to fight, never peaceful, always have something negative to say, always. This is toxic behavior. And I'm saying it's good to save yourself. It's good to set boundaries and make up in your mind, I'm just not going to go through that anymore. Telling lies. This is a part of a toxic person, somebody that's always lying or making up something. That's toxic, because integrity is what you need to look for in any relationship. In any relationship. That's the way it should be. And so I just wanted to come on today. I just wanted to be on just for a little bit and let you all know that it's not good. And when you deal with these people, I just want to share some other things with you. When you deal with people that are toxic, it's good to set clear boundaries and communicate with them consistently. and let them know that you're not going to be going through that. It's always good to limit interactions and to reduce their impact on your well-being. You have to do that. You have to limit the time that you're with people like that and cut them off. Cut them off. Why are you cutting them off? To save yourself. You can avoid them. You can avoid them. You can let them know, listen, I've said time and time again that I'm not about that. I've said it time and time again, and you're not listening, so I can remove myself from this relationship. Now, it's not that easy in a marriage. It's not that easy in a marriage. But I want to let you all know it's more likely for a marriage to be better when you set boundaries in a marriage. When you set boundaries in a marriage, when you say, okay, I'm not, listen, sweetheart, I love you. But that type of behavior, I'm not going with it. I'm not going for that type of behavior. I love you, darling. But I'm not, and I'll be honest with you, a good wife would do everything she can to hold that marriage together. A good wife would do everything she can to hold that marriage together. She doesn't curse her husband out, but she does what? She talks to him very sweetly and nicely to let him know, and it could be vice versa. It could be the husband, it could be the husband that has to tell his wife, sweetheart, I'm not going through that, because it's not all men that are toxic. There are a lot of women, toxic women. Okay? There's a lot of toxic women. And sometimes the husband is going through. But I want to tell you, whether it's your husband or the wife, you have to protect your peace. You have to protect yourself. You got to prioritize yourself. And you got to have self-care time. And that's why I said, if you're married, now listen up, if you're married to a toxic person, that can be horrific. Okay? And that's going to have to be a lot. You have to deal with a lot. And it's good that, it's good. First of all, I want to say this. If you are married to a toxic person, narcissistic person, if you're married, you have to remember in your mind, it's them. It is not you. Because they have certain behaviors that's really unacceptable. Unacceptable. Calling your names. Calling you out of your name. Your mama did. They know your mama didn't give you those names, but they do it anyway. Okay? Insulting you. Causing stress to come upon you. Listen, a lot of toxic people, they do all kind of things, okay? And I say that because I know I could go down the list. I could go down the line. And it causes stress. It causes stress. It's very stressful to be married to a toxic person. This podcast is Husbands Love Your Wives, okay? That's the name of it. But I want to talk to the wives and I want to talk to the husbands. And you need to know who you're married to, because a lot of times you don't see all of this before you get married. You don't see this, but after you get married, it's a totally different thing. It could be, and that's if you're dealing with someone that has these problems, these difficulties. Okay? If you're married to someone that has problems like this, it's terrible. And it's stressful because they more into themselves than they are into you. If you're married to someone like that, so you have to take care of yourself, because they are so self-centered and there's so much into them, because everything has to be about them. Everything has to be about them. Whatever they do, they're really looking out for themselves instead of looking out for the family. Because when you get married, the husband and the wife, they're the family. Unless you have children, it's a husband, wife, children, right? So, but when you're married to a toxic person, it's you and he married, or he and you married, right? The wife and the husband married, but that toxic person is really looking out for themselves in everything. In everything. If it's good for them, then that's what they want to do. If it's something that's going to benefit them, if it's something that's going to help them to look good, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're about. Everything that's going to make them look like they level up. Whatever you get is really for them, because they're so controlling. There's some controlling people. Toxic people are controlling people, and they're very manipulative. Get it for them. Okay, and so I say that because I say that because you need to know that when you in a relationship like that, you can't let yourself go. I've heard of some women, after they get married, they let themselves go. Okay, but you have to know that you never let yourself go. You never let yourself go. I want you all ladies to remember that. I want you to love yourself. I want you to, always stay beautiful. Always do mental health days, and at least once a month. I remember when I was younger, that's what they would say. Always have a good mental health day at least once a month, so you can keep yourself together. Because sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship, you can really feel stressed out. You can really feel stressed out. And to the point, sometimes you're praying that you don't lose your mind. Because a lot of times toxic people can make you feel like that. They can make you feel like, Lord, if God's not on my side, I tell you what, I don't know what's going to happen. I know some people so stressed out in a relationship, they're taking pills. They're taking pills. I know some people so stressed out in a relationship, they're drinking. They're so stressed out in their relationship, they're doing all kinds of things to bring about peace. And that's not where we need to be. That's not taking care of yourself, because you don't want to be alone. You want to keep a husband. You want to keep a wife. So you're doing everything to try to make it look good on the outside, when really on the inside you're having a hard time. If people only could see, if people only could see the inside where you're living. How you go out to church, to shopping, everything, and you acting like everything perfect, but you know it's not really perfect. You know that you're going through a living hell a lot of times at home. You know that. But then when you get in front of people and you act like you're the perfect couple, the perfect family, toxic. Okay? And I say that because I grew up, and I really, I don't talk about this all the time, but I grew up in a family. I grew up in a family where I had a mom in the house and a dad in the house that were married. Okay, and I through my whole life living with them, because both of them are deceased now. But as I lived with my parents, they had an argument or disagreement, I believe, one time. Okay, that I ever heard. And I say that because I lived in a very peaceful environment as a child. That's what I'm saying. It was a very, very peaceful environment as a child, okay? But once I, gotten older and different relationships, I learned that some other people didn't have that. They came home to cursing, slapping, all kinds of foolishness that I wasn't raised with. Okay, and I say that because I'm very, very thankful for my parents. And allowing us to have, I have brothers and sisters, one sister and two brothers. And we lived in a very peaceful environment, where you can play your music when you want to in your room and all. I mean, we had a very peaceful environment. So I say that because your environment means a lot of your living, your daily living. Your environment, it means a lot. And if you're living in a lot of abuse, chaoticness, it makes a difference for your life, how you're living. And so that's why I say it's important, because a lot of times if you're in school, you don't do well with your studies. If you have a job, you don't, when environment is chaotic and abusive at home, a lot of times you don't do well when you go out. And that's the reason why it's good to have a peaceful, as much as possible, environment. When I got older, it wasn't like that. But I didn't find that out till I got out of my mom and dad's house. And I go like, wow, the real world is here. And my eyes were open to a lot, because a lot of people live in a very, very horrible environment. Okay? And I'm saying this to you all, because some of you all are in some marriages and relationships that are not so good. They're not so good. And some people don't believe that you should have boundaries in a marriage, but you should. And you should create these boundaries before you say, I do. You need to let the man that you getting married to, women, you need to let them know. Men, you need to let your wife know, your bride know before she is your bride, so to speak, and let her know that this is not going to be going on in my house. And if they don't agree, then you need to get to stepping. If they don't agree, if you don't have that agreement before you say I do, somebody needs to get to stepping. Because I'm telling you, if you don't set boundaries in the beginning, if you don't do a pre-check-off list, I'm telling you, if you don't do a pre-check-off list, this, and let them know now. Let them know, look, this is it right here. If you don't, I'm telling you, trouble is coming, and you're not going to like it. Trouble is coming, and you're not going to like it. That's the reason why it's good to let them know, okay, this is what I believe. Trouble come up, it's going to come up anyway. But whatever if you can just do it before, trouble's going to come in a marriage, because life is full of trouble. We don't know what we have to go through in life, right? But some things that we can control, or some things that we can prevent, it's best to prevent it. It's best to do the best you can to say, all right, I want to be married, but have a plan. And let your future husband know what your plans are. Husbands, you need to let your wife know, your future wife know what your plans are for her. If you don't know where you're going, husbands, how you going to lead anybody? You need to know where you're going. You need to know what plans you have for your future wife. And is it fighting? Every time she does makes a mistake, you want to beat her up? Come on, that's no marriage. You understand what I'm saying? That's not marriage. That you always want to, and I'm just going to tell you, some people just need therapy before they get married. I don't believe anybody bringing somebody else into a bunch of baggage. You have a bunch of baggage going on yourself, and then you tell them about it, you want to get married to someone else. That is failure before it gets started. It's failure before it gets started. If you don't have yourself together, then you shouldn't want to bring somebody into that if you don't have yourself together. And I'm saying this because I know it's a lot of people out there, let's get married. And you don't even have your mind together. And that's one reason why a lot of divorces come up, because you didn't plan it out. how you wanted it to be. You can plan and things still don't work out, but at least you planned and you prayed about it. That's another good thing to do. Okay? It's a good thing to pray before you get married to make sure that you're making the right decision with the right person. All right. And so that's what I want to share with you all. I want to come on and talk about toxic. I jumped off of the family members, but you need to know how to deal with it. And one way you deal with toxic family members, even if you don't want to let them know, it's good to let them know, how you feel about the situation. Yeah, and if they don't want to listen, you let them know this is the boundary. We're not going to discuss. I was on the phone with a family member this week, and things got a little heated in a conversation. And I made up my mind, that's it. We're not talking about this subject ever again. That's it. You and I just don't agree. You and I just don't agree. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let them know that listen, you and I just don't agree on this. And so we're not going to, my boundary is we're not going to discuss this anymore. We're not going to discuss this any further. As a matter of fact, I love you, but see you on this subject. I love you, but we can't talk about this anymore because it's too much energy. Sometimes we put too much energy into a situation that we should not. We put too much energy. And so we have to avoid arguments and chaos. And we need to avoid it at all costs because we want our well-being to be prioritized. Well, our well-being means more than me saying I'm right and you're wrong. I want to be well. I want to have a well mind. I want to be well in this, in this life. And sometimes with those toxic people, they don't want you to be well. They don't want you to be well. They want you to, they don't want you to be well. They want you to be stressed out. Stressed out, about to stroke out. They don't care because remember, toxic people a lot of times are self-centered. They think more of themselves than they think of you. I love you all. I just want to come on to talk about that a little bit, to talk about toxic people. And I feel like that, when I was young, I got married at 18, and I didn't know much about toxic people, narcissistic people. I did not know much about it, but I wanted to come on today to talk about this. And I felt like it was important because when you're educated, that gives you a better chance to be very successful in life. When you know about different things in life, that gives you a better chance to be successful. I love you all, and I hope to see you all next week on Husband Love Your Wives at 5 p.m. We're going to do something a little different, and I hope that you all enjoy it, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. Peace. We love you.